Welcome to the NeuroHeir Podcast, the show for cycle breakers, parents, young adults, and helping professionals ready to understand their nervous system through a generational lens, heal what isn't theirs to carry, and consciously choose what comes next. Hi, I'm your host, Leanna Hunt, an associate clinical mental health counselor and certified performance coach. Each week, you'll get stories, science, and somatic practices, plus my signature 4N framework: notice, name, nurture, and navigate, to help you honor resilience, break silence, and build deeper connection with yourself and those you love, all while shaping a legacy of safety, freedom, and possibility. Hey everyone, in this episode, I want to talk about the why behind this podcast and who it's really for. Because if you're here, it's not by accident. You're probably someone who feels like you've been carrying too much for too long, and you're wondering if there's another way forward. If you're someone who finds yourself anxious, exhausted, or constantly trying to hold it all together for everyone else, and yet still feeling like it's never enough, you're in the right place. If you've been trying to just think positive or push harder to prove yourself or use willpower alone to feel different and it hasn't worked, you're in the right place. And if deep down you want more connection, more safety, and more freedom, not just for yourself, but for your kids, your family, and also the generations that come after you, then you're in the right place. And this podcast is for you. You guys are going to hear me use the word NeuroHeir a lot. And I introduced it just briefly in the first episode, but I want to tell you a little bit more about what I mean. For years, I resonated with being a cycle breaker. That language started to feel more like it was about a force or fracture. And when the word NeuroHeir came to me, it finally clicked. Air points to legacy, not just what we inherit, but what we choose to carry forward. And neuro connects that legacy to our nervous system, the place where generational patterns of protection, survival, and resiliency live. A NeuroHeir is someone who listens to what their body has been trying to say all along. A NeuroHeir recognizes they may be carrying pain that didn't start with them, and a NeuroHeir chooses to do something different. And also, please remember, this isn't about blame, but this is about awareness with compassion. Here are a few things that I believe. The first, we all inherit a nervous system shaped by generations before us, but we get to decide what we carry forward. Number two, silence is not neutral. It carries weight. And breaking that silence is often the first step towards healing. Number three, boundaries aren't about rejection or disowning your family. They're about creating space for connection, safety, and presence. Number four, healing is never about force, but it is about choice. And number five, and the science backs this up, research on intergenerational trauma has shown that unprocessed stress, silence, and even how our parents and grandparents adapted to survival can be passed down through both behavior and biology. The good news is that through this awareness and new experience, these can create change. And that's the heart of this work. So that's that other thing, is we're going to bring in science as much as possible. And one quick note before we go on, if you're someone who loves research or wants to look up the studies for yourself, please make sure you always check out the show notes, even if I forget to mention it. I'll always include references, links, and sometimes extra resources there so you can go deeper if you want. There's also show notes for episode 1. Here's what you won't hear on this podcast. You're not going to hear me telling you to cut people out of your life as the only way forward. There are plenty of other people out there that are telling you that, and that's not going to be me. You're not going to hear surface level fixes that bypass the deeper patterns. Yes, there are some simple somatic practices that can create fast relief, but here I use them as part of a bigger process of healing and integration. You're also not going to hear me focus on toxic positivity, which is the kind of just think happy thoughts advice that ignore your real experiences and your nervous system cues. Around here, I'm going to honor the full range of your story, the hard, the beautiful, and everything in between. Here are a few things that you are going to hear from me. You're going to hear nervous system education explained in a way that's simple, practical, connected to the bigger picture of generational healing. You're also going to hear about my 4N framework: notice, name, nurture, and navigate. I'm going to use these as a pathway that you can return to again and again, whether you're facing everyday stress or deep inherited patterns. You're also going to hear about a lot of different tools that you can use right away to feel more grounded, connected, and safe in your body, and to begin shifting what gets passed forward. You're going to hear really cool conversations and stories that validate your lived experience while also pointing towards hope and possibility. And I'm also going to focus on legacy, not just what you've inherited, but what you consciously choose to carry forward for yourself, your relationships, and the future generations. My goal with this podcast is to help you release what was never yours to carry, to reconnect who you really are, and consciously choose the legacy you want to pass on. Because healing your nervous system isn't just about you. It's about changing what your kids inherit, how your relationships feel, and even how you show up in the world. This work ripples forward. I see it all the time, and hearing about the ripple effect literally just gets me so excited, and I can't wait for you guys to learn more and see it in your own life. I'd love to hear what resonated most with you in this episode. Please send me a DM on Instagram at Aligning with Leanna, or even a voice memo, and let me know what you're struggling with or what you'd love to hear more of. And if this episode spoke to you, share it with a friend who's also ready to heal what wasn't theirs to carry. That's how this message grows, guys. Thanks so much for being here. Until next time.